Record. All right. Thank heavens. Okay, Josh, the next bracket up when we're sort of doing threes and fives, do you remember what strength quality we call this?
Was that the relative strength?
Yes, mate. Well done. So essentially, they're rep ranges that will develop strength relative to body weight.
Yeah.
And then at the top, when we're doing ones and threes, we're working on
Maximal
strength. That's the one, mate. Very nice. Okay, so those are our strength qualities. And then the variables that we manipulate during program design. That's what I'm after. Here we have intensity, volume, and frequency. Okay, do you remember those?
Yep.
Yeah. So intensity refers to the weight on the bar. So the higher the weight, the lower the reps, the higher intensity a program has. Volume refers to the total amount of sets and reps and exercises. So the amount of work that we do in a program or a workout. And frequency refers to how frequently we train each body part or movement system in a week. And so basically, these three qualities, you sort of, as I sort of said last week, you can't lift super heavy for lots of reps and lots of sets every day. So you can't have all three factors in a workout or in a program, but you can pick two and sort of lean on those two to be your primary focus. And what we're going to do today is I'll look at a client case study of one of my clients and the initial, how I design an initial training program, factoring in intensity, volume, and frequency, and the sort of rep ranges that we would begin with. And when we first spoke about the pyramid, we sort of identified that a beginner, because they don't have any training age or any real strength, intensity is always going to be low in their initial program. So we're looking at more volume and frequency as the variables that we manipulate for an initial training program design. So I'm going to stop this share and bring up the case study. Right. Share. No, it's the same screen. All right. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So this was a client of mine that came in for an initial consultation a little while ago. She's 39 years old, 54 kilos. So she's pretty small. Small and petite. You'd probably classify her as a bit of a skinny fat initially. So she didn't have a huge amount of muscle, but she has trained a little bit in the past. She's had a PT in the past. So her upper body was lean, but she had quite a lot of her body fat distribution was one of those ones where she had all of her fat mass was all predominantly in her lower body, hips and thighs and legs and calves as well, actually. But her upper body was lean. She's got the two young kids, so she's only working part-time, but it's a fairly, she's good at what she does, and it's a fairly stressful role. So work and family are her top priorities. Her training age. So training age refers to how much experience someone has with strength training. And so she was a beginner to intermediate. She probably has been intermediate in the past, but it's been like probably 5 or 6 years since she had actually trained with weights. So there is some of that nervous system development, like she knows how to move and she knows how to lift weights and she's had some exposure to it. So, but she hasn't done it for a while. So she's like a beginner / intermediate. You basically treat her as a beginner, but she should progress a little faster than a genuine beginner. Her training that she was doing was just cardio. So she was running 2 or 3 times a week. She'd just go for like a 5K run and do that. And was doing no weights at all. And her goal was basically body recomposition. She wanted to lose some body fat. She wanted to build a little bit of muscle, but not too much. Like she's a little concerned. I don't want to get bulky kind of thing. which doesn't really happen anyway. But she wanted to build some strength. She was quite slumped in her posture from being in front of the computer all the time. So that was a focus of hers. And she was a bit low on energy, and she just had no real structure or plan with what she was doing with her exercise and her health and fitness. So that's what they were her main goals. Given her schedule and the amount of time she had, she's doing 2 sessions with me. She might be able to do 1 session on her own, and she likes doing a little bit of cardio. So like a full week of training for her would be like 2 to 3 weight sessions plus a cardio. But realistically, she's probably doing a cardio, maybe once or twice a month, and she's getting 2 to 3 weights workouts in. So the weights workouts are the priority. But that's how much time that she's got. Her nutrition when she came in was pretty minimal. So she would just have toast and avocado with some feta in the morning. She'd go and get a wrap or a toasted sandwich or something at lunch. And then the dinner with the family might be some pasta or, maybe a piece of fish, or they cook up a stew or something like that. So it was a variety of different meals. She'd have a sort of a small portion of meat or whatever it was. But I calculated her protein at roughly 50 to 60 grams of protein per day. So she was, and her calories were low. Like she wasn't eating much at all. She's like a little bird. So she doesn't eat too much, doesn't have a lot of protein, is doing a lot of running, and hence the kind of skinny fat profile, which is not a pleasant term, but it's kind of a good way of describing what's going on. And she'd reached that point where her body had sort of adapted to the cardio and adapted to the food that she was eating, and her metabolism was relatively slow. So her body wasn't moving. There was no more fat loss going on, and she was a little bit stuck. So, and the whole nutrition conversation will be something that we'll go into in future sessions, but obviously increasing her protein is the top priority there, and then getting some strength training into the mix. So for her, so we're going to look at the training program parameters. So for someone like this, how I would, the things that she needs in an initial phase of training. Let me get the annotate. So I gave her a 2-day training split. So she had 2 different workouts. They were total body workouts. And obviously the intensity was low. Volume of reps was high. So sort of 10 to 14s. Volume of sets was moderate to high. And so those are the variables of the actual program. So intensity we know is going to be low because she has no real strength. So there's not going to be a lot of weight. So intensity is low. Volume of reps makes sense to have them a little higher because that's where she needs to start. And volume of sets, because she's a beginner and she doesn't have a huge amount of training capacity or work capacity at this stage, the actual sets are fairly moderate in their prescription. So those are the parameters that I sort of identify for a typical starting phase. And so how I put that together in a workout would be, so 2 days, I do my programs in supersets. So pairing up body parts. So they would do, like an A1, A2, a B1, B2, and a C1, C2, or something like that. Is that similar to what you guys kind of do?
Yeah.
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 So day 1, I typically start with so A1 would be a lower body push, and I would pair that A2 with an upper body pull. And these exercises I typically make unilateral. So single arm, single leg. So I'm trying to get a little bit of balance and structural balance into the program. So give us some single arm pulling and some split squats or something like that for the A series. And then I would move into the Bs where I would do the compounds. And if we're doing a lower body push at the top, I would then give her a lower body pull for the compound. B2 would then be an upper body upper body push. And then the C's would be more corrective exercises. And we'll get into C1, C2, and C3 when I bring the actual program up. So that would be day one. And so if that's day one, let me create some more space here. Hang on. Technical difficulties. Oh. Hang on. Just stop share. Okay, share. All right. Okay. Well, it's just brought up day one. So this is what day one looks like. So let me get my pointing tool. So A1 and A2. So A1, I've got a split squat, front foot elevated with dumbbells. So you guys know what that exercise is?
Yep.
Yep. So that's my lower body push. And I'm supersetting that with an upper body pull, unilateral. So I've got two unilateral exercises, lower body push, upper body pull. And we can see in rotation one, she's just doing 2 or 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. So in the first workout, you know, when you get in with a new client and you sort of spend 5 minutes setting up the exercise, cueing them, showing them how to actually perform it properly. So you spend a bit of time there. So usually in the first exposure, I'm only doing 2 sets with them. Because by the time I've got through that, you know, I've got 45 minutes to 60 minutes with them, depending on you know, how tightly I'm booked. So it's just 2 sets to start with, give them a light exposure to the exercise. And when we get into rotation 2 to 3 again, but we're usually trying to hit 3. And then in the middle, 3rd and 4th exposure, 3 sets. And then on the final exposure, we maybe even hit 4 sets. So I'm increasing volume of sets over the phase, if that makes sense.
Sorry, are you on the page with like the triangle with like all the reps?
No. What are you looking at?
Are you not? Oh, okay. I'm still on like the goals and like the nutrition and everything.
Right,
like,
right. Okay.
Pointing at like nothing.
Nothing. Okay. You go. All right. Okay.
I was like imagining what you were saying. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
That's classic. All right. Very good. Okay. So let me go back to this.
Good point, Josh. I thought I was meant to be like writing down mentally what he was.
I thought I was the only one who just screamed.
No. Okay. Thank heavens you spoke up, mate. Well done. So what can you see now?
Yeah, I can see a bunch of tables and everything now. Yeah.
Training program?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Fuck me. All right. So here's the training program. Okay.
So
back to the arrow pointing at nothing.
Yeah, okay, here we go.
Right, there we go. Okay, so split squat, cable row. So the cable row, we've got to set up on a bench with a cable, and she's doing a single arm cable row. So a split squat and a cable row. So rotation 1, 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 12 reps. She does the split squat for 10 to 12, 15 seconds rest, then into the cable row. Then she gets 45 seconds rest and then back again.
Okay.
So does the A1, A2 kind of setup make sense to you guys?
Yeah, that's sort of exactly how we do it.
Exactly how you do it. Yeah, awesome. Great. And so what I was talking about before I realized that I was not on a screen was how the volume of sets here increase with each rotation over the phase. So the reps, we know intensity is low. So the volume of reps are high-ish. The volume of sets start very moderate, and then they get a little bit higher towards the end of the phase as she develops some training capacity. So hence the higher volume, higher frequency. So that's what we do for the A series. So they're the unilateral exercises that I like to put at the start of the workout. You could certainly start with compound exercises at the top. I like using the unilateral stuff at the front because it just gets I find they're moving a little better. Their body's warm, the nervous system is warmed up. There's very low chance of injury with these kind of exercises. And then by the time you get to the compounds, they're sort of switched on and ready to go. So that's why I in initial phase, I'll put the compound lifts in the middle of the workout. So I'll see if I can move this screen. Right, okay. So the compound lifts, I've got a trap bar deadlift and an incline dumbbell press. So that's our lower body pull paired up with an upper body press. Make sense?
Yep.
Yep. And so similar deal with the sets. Rotation 1, just 3 sets. So pretty cruisy. And then they build 4 sets in rotation 2 and then 5 sets in the middle. And then in the 5th rotation, because she had that little bit of training experience in the past, I thought, you know what, she might be able to handle some 10s in that final round of the phase. If it was a beginner, I'd still keep 12s all the way through. But my plan would be to move her onto some 10s in the next block. And I thought, you know what, I'll give her some 10s in that last week and just see how she goes with a bit more weight on the bar and a few less reps. Give her a little taste of that. So that's why I had the that rep range there. But you can see by the time she's done the 3 to 4 sets in the 5th rotation up here, and then a full 5 sets at the end, the overall volume of the workout increases over the phase. The rest periods are all pretty short, so she's huffing and puffing and working quite hard. And then we move into the C series. So she had a single leg lower body push in the A series. So I've given her lower body pushing again. So another squat variation. So this would be a heels elevated narrow stance, very quad dominant squat. And, you know, the first couple of rounds of that, she's just doing that body weight. So, you know, sort of the narrow stance, heels up, knees forward, pumping out those reps. So quite a challenging squat movement with a corrective upper body pull. So she had a single arm lower body pull in the A series. So I've given her a corrective pull in the C series. So she does these 2 exercises and the volume of sets. We just do 2 rounds in the first couple of weeks, 2 to 3 rounds, and then she ends up doing 3. So there are 14s and then a little bit of abs, aligned leg raise just to finish the workout off. So as a day 1 workout, does that all kind of make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we'll do now, I'll bring up day 2 and we'll have the 2 days side by side and we can see how the body parts and the movements match each other with each day. So I'll stop that share and get a new one here.
And by the way, Tom,
yes,
at 4:10, I got to go because I got to get ready for work.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No worries. I'll whip through this. What do you got? What can you guys see now?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can see the 2 workouts?
Yeah.
Side by side? Fuck, now I can't see that.
Now you deleted it.
Now I deleted it. Very good. No?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see the 2 side by side?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So can I. Great. Perfect. So on the left-hand side, that was day 1 that we've just been through. And so I match the opposing muscle group in day 2. So rather than doing a so we do lower body push day 1, then we go to a lower body push in day 2. So she's doing a single leg hamstring curl, kneeling hamstring curl, paired up with a split squat from day 1. So I'm doing the opposing muscle group. She was doing a single arm pull on day 1. So on day 2, I give her a single arm press and with a unilateral overhead shoulder press. That makes sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so as we move to the compounds, the B series, she was doing a lower body pull on day 1 with the trap bar deadlift. So I've given her a squat. So a normal mid stance kind of squat setup. She wasn't quite ready for a barbell yet. So I just loaded it with a front dumbbell. So she's holding the dumbbell, just doing like a goblet squat with a normal stance. So that's her compound lower body pushing movement. And then if we were doing the upper body compound press on day 1, she needs to do an upper body compound pull on day 2 to match that up. So I've given her a pull down. That all makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now I need to share the C series. All right. What can you guys see now? Still the
Just
same,
like, yeah, the same thing.
same thing. So it, okay. Hang on. Okay. Can you see the C exercises next to each other?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So day one, we had the squat variation. So she's doing a lower body push in the C series for C1. So C2 on day 2, I give her a lower body pull. So just the Romanian deadlift, dumbbells.
Yeah.
Then she's doing face pull on day 2. So I've given her an assisted push up. So basically that's, I'll set a barbell up on the rack at a height that's appropriate for her to do 14 reps. And then as each week goes on, I'll just lower the height of the barbell until she's getting closer to doing an actual push up from the ground. And then for the D exercises, both abs, here she's doing a leg raise, and here we do some abdominal rotations. So we're hitting the abs, covering the abdominal bases. So does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is how I put together a very simple 2-day training split for a beginner based off the all of the parameters that we've discussed: low intensity, higher volume of reps, moderate volume of sets. And ideally she would train more than 2 to 3 days a week. Like she could do these 4 days a week and do each workout twice a week for the first block and pump through them. So train with a higher frequency, but 2 to 3 sessions was all that she had time to do. So that was all that she did. And that's basically how I put it together. And I pretty much do the same sort of process for every beginner client that comes in. So I have this template, also be similar to what you guys do, the template's there, it's ready to go. And I'm pretty much just manipulating exercise selection based on if they have a certain injury or there's certain movements they don't do well, they do well. And I'm fluffing around with that kind of stuff. Or you have to factor in the layout of the gym and what time they're training. If they train at a busy time, then maybe I might compromise a little bit on the exercise that I choose to have it in a close proximity to the machine that she's using or the dumbbell. So it's easy to actually get the workout done and it's easy for them to come in and follow the program. But that's the general structure that I would use to start off a beginner client. So does that all kind of make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Any questions with any of that?
No, but I like the assisted push up. I didn't know about that. How you like start off like with the bar height and then like over the weeks go lower to the actual push up.
Yeah,
It's cool.
Yeah, it's very effective. I do it for male and female clients, but it's just a nice little way to, how with the push up you've got to kind of have that scapular retraction, so they learn that it's easier to learn, I think, that scapular retraction at the top of a press rather than actually pressing from underneath a barbell or a dumbbell. So it's a good way to cue scapular retraction and depression. And that method of lowering them down over the week is quite rewarding as well. They enjoy that progression. And then
Sorry, with the shoulder standing unilateral.
Yes.
Would you get them to do it sitting down if they've got like a bad back, or is standing up safe?
Standing up is usually safe.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing, I think she's doing 12 reps. So the weight's not particularly high. And so the actual amount, and it's one dumbbell. So the amount of load going through the spine is relatively minimal, although there certainly is a fair bit of core recruitment with anything that you do overhead. If she had an issue with lower back pain and that was a proper problem, then yeah, you could certainly do that seated, or you could do like a landmine press or something like that, down kneeling with a T-bar kind of attachment.
Mm-hmm.
But the standing unilaterals, I haven't had anyone that has been limited in doing that because of lower back pain. And you can
Okay.
you can choose the stance as well. You can put them in a split stance or a square stance. Either
Mhm.
one's cool.
And why do you rotate for that exercise?
So for that one, I want full range of motion on the press. So I'll go like supinated, semi-supinated at the bottom, and then I want full.
Okay.
You kind of see like
Yeah,
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
So I just So I just want them
like
to
sort of the same as like an Arnold press.
similar to an Arnold press. So
Yeah.
if you like, a lot of people won't have enough shoulder mobility to start with to actually hold a pronated shoulder press and get it set back here. Where if you get it supinated, they can still get scapular retraction on the shoulder and have the dumbbell just in front there. So they're getting that full range.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Nah.
No. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, it's 2 minutes until Josh has got to go. So if there's no other questions or anything, then maybe we'll just wrap it up there.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. All right. So next week, so I'm seeing Mick probably on Monday. So I'll have a little bit of a chat about the structure of all this and how it's all going. But I think part of the plan is that certainly for Josh, because you're new on board, is that we would get you to actually write an initial program and I have a bit of a look of it, something like that. So he might want you guys to actually write a couple of programs and send them through. So we'll see how that goes. But so apart from that, what we might do is look at phase 2, and we can see how the progression of programming develops. And then we've also got nutrition and all that stuff to talk about as well. So there's a never-ending amount of things to do.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, cool. You
Okay.
guys are legends. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk next week.
You too.
Yes. Thank you.
See you later.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye.